Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Sarah Schultz. I am a realtor in the Northern Nevada market, serving Reno, Sparks, Carson City, and all the surrounding areas. And on today's video, as I do each and every month, I'm going to be giving you a data deep dive in our market. The market data is published at the end of each month, kind of summarizing all those important KPIs that you need to be aware of if you're thinking of buying or selling in our market. So, without further ado, I will dive in, but just note that at the very end, I will give you my best advice and predictions for both buyers and sellers. So, make sure you don't go anywhere and watch the entire thing. Before I dive in, I just want to preface this by saying that normally these videos I target Reno and Sparks. I think in the last video last month, I did Reno, Sparks, and Carson City. But as more and more of you continue to relocate here, our kind of target place to land, if you will, just seems to be ever expanding. So for today's video, I have gone ahead and targeted all of Washoe County. So this is going to give you a pretty good overview of what's going on in our market. Now, keep in mind that these metrics are specific to single family residences. They do not include condos or townhouses or manufactured homes. The first KPI that we always touch on is the median sales price. This crept up ever so slightly month over month from the closeout of February by less than 1%, landing at $575,000. It's important to note that this also didn't change at all year over year. So, meaning at the same time of the year last year, the median sales price in our market was exactly the same as it is today. These are lagging metrics, right? So, in our market, they give us these KPIs at the end of the month in arrears, but you also have to remember that when these homes that are now, closed metrics, they got into contract presumably 30 maybe 40 days prior to that. So these are actually numbers that kind of give you an insight to what was going on at that time. So you just have to keep that in your mind as we move through these. This next KPI was a pretty significant change, and that is number of closed sales. This increased by 16.1% month over month and 13.6% year over year, landing at 383 closed sales. This does seem to feel really accurate considering what's happening here in real time on the ground. I will tell you, I have been working with some relocating buyers, and there was a property of interest maybe a week ago, and we went and toured it, and there were already 6 offers in hand. So activity in general is picking up here. It's springtime. We had a really great week of nice weather. Then we got snow, and now it looks like from here on out, it's just going to kind of phase on into that warm spring, summer. This is the time when we start to see a lot more inventory on the market, a lot more buyer activity, just more activity overall. And these numbers are really painting that picture. So I'm going to keep going through them. Stay with me. This next KPI was another significant change. This one is median days to contract. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the amount of time that it takes from when a listing goes live in our MLS to the time that an offer is accepted. And that number landed at 16 days, which is a pretty stark decrease month over month. We went down by 29.5% from the closeout of February and a whopping 40.9% year over year. So that is telling you that properties are moving quickly. If you're a buyer out there, I am going to give you both buyer and seller advice at the end. But in short, if you're a buyer, now's the time to start being decisive and acting quickly, but more on that later, so stay with me. All right, let's talk about percent of list price received. I always pretty much say the same thing about this KPI every month, and it's true because this metric, in my opinion, and by the data, it's not even an opinion, this metric is the one that changes the least in our market. Basically, this number landed at 99%, which is telling you that when properties are listed, that they are getting 99% of the asking price from the buyer. So that's pretty much telling you, if you're shopping around and looking at homes on Zillow or wherever else, if you have an agent like me who set you up on property alerts through MLS or through whatever other software they're using, all in all, what you are seeing as the list price is typically what you're going to pay in our market. This number didn't even change whatsoever, not even a fraction of a percentage year over year. So that should tell you this is a pretty consistent metric in our market. Let's talk about the median price per square foot. Now, this is the sold number. This is not the listed number, which sometimes can be a bit of a variable. That number landed at $315 per square foot. This just barely increased month over month by 0.2% and increased 5.7% year over year. Obviously, we're talking about median and not average. So it really truly depends on the actual properties that are being listed, what their price points are, etc., for this number to, really hold up. But just overall, keep in mind that the median price per square foot is $315 for a single family residential home. That said, there are exceptions, right? Now, if you're looking at some custom fancy home up in Arrow Creek or Montreux or maybe even in Somerset, you can expect that number to be well over the 400s, maybe even into the 500s. It just really depends. Conversely, if you're looking at a lower end starter home, it may be closer or even slightly below this median, but it's just that it's a median, right? And it gives you kind of a good benchmark for what's happening in our market. All right, here's another one that had a pretty drastic change month over month, and I'm talking about number of new listings. Yay! I love spring. I love when the market just starts coming back alive. The cold, dark winters. It's a vibe here, and in our market, it's a little sad. Like everything just kind of drops off, but we are back on, folks, let me tell you. And this number is definitely a testament to that. We had a whopping 526 new listings, which is nearly a 25% increase month over month from the closeout of February. It's also nearly a 17% increase year over year, which is great news for buyers. It's going to mean that you have more options, but with more options typically comes more competition. We start to see price tags climb, but I'm going to get into all of that with my predictions and my advice shortly, so don't go anywhere. We're almost through these KPIs. Up next is active inventory. This is all of the active single family residential listings in our market. So that doesn't include vacant land, manufactured homes, or condos or townhouses. This is simply single family residences. This landed at 772 listings, which is a 2.5% increase month over month and a 34.3% increase year over year. Like I said, I love this. Bring it on. The more activity, I think the better for everyone. I think overall, it creates a little bit more of a balance in the market between buyers and sellers, but I'm going to get into all that. So don't go anywhere. I only have one last KPI, so just stay with me. This last one is telling about which way this market is leaning, and that is months supply of inventory. It landed at exactly 2 months. So if you don't know what that means, basically it's saying that if no new inventory came online right now, with the inventory that we have, those 772 active listings, it would take 2 months for that inventory to be absorbed by the buyers that are currently in the market. Obviously, we're going to see more buyers and we're also going to see more inventory as we move forward, but that should just give you a good frame of reference. And that number decreased significantly month over month by 11.7%, but increased 18.1% year over year. That's super interesting. Overall, let's talk about the buyer side. What we are seeing is that inventory is on the rise, which is good. That means that you have more options. However, days on market is shrinking, which means that things are moving at a much faster pace than they were a month ago. So that's telling you that overall competition is heating up. So if you are a buyer shopping in this market or you're thinking about being a buyer, you want to come in ready to act. You want to come in ready to be decisive, ready to, have all your financing, all those ducks in a row. You're going to either want to have a pre-approval letter, hopefully from a local lender. I can connect you to an awesome one if we are working together. Or if you are a cash buyer, we will need proof of funds. It can be something simple, just like a bank statement with sensitive information crossed out, just something proving that you are in fact ready, able, and willing to purchase this house that you're writing an offer for. So you're going to want to have that ready before you even start shopping, because if you're not, all the other buyers will already have that, and you're going to be competing against people who are ready to roll. And while we're trying to talk about the intricacies of your actual offer and your terms, you're going to be so busy trying to get what you need out of your lender or your bank or all that. So just have that up front and have that ready. Now, If you are a contingent buyer, meaning that you have a property to sell that's going to enable you to buy, it's not a problem. It's something that we do all the time. Personally, I help buyers like this all the time. Specifically, relocations are a huge part of my business. And in that case, what you want to have is ideally you want to have your house that's departing on the market. And if you don't have it on the market, you want to know exactly what that timeline is going to look like. You're going to want to have the days on market for your specific neighborhood, because that's going to let the seller know of the home you're trying to buy here, like, hey, once we list, it should take 20 days or it should take 40 days for my house to sell. And that's going to be really good information for them to feel comfortable saying, like, okay, yeah, I'll accept this contingent offer because I have some data point that's going to enable me to understand how long this actually is going to take, right? You're going to want to be really clear about what your deal breakers are and are not. Keep in mind that you may not find the absolute perfect home. Maybe it's a stepping stone, or, maybe there are some things that you'd be able to compromise on. My main takeaway for buyers right now is that your biggest thing right now is going to be speed. You're going to want to be decisive, clear, fast, concise, and ready. All right, let's talk about the seller side. So, the good news is that listings are selling a lot faster than they were. As I mentioned, the winter months here are cold and dark and sad, and properties do tend to sit a little bit longer with the crappy weather paired with the holidays where people are just distracted, traveling, kids are sick, kids are home from school, like all of that. So, we're through all that. Whew. As a mom, I can attest to, like, I'm really ready for spring. So, with homes moving faster, that's good. And also, with that percent of list price received landing at 99, you're likely to get close to your asking price as long as it is appropriately priced. And I can help you with that with your strategy. One thing that you're going to want to keep in mind, just like the buyer side, is that there's going to be more competition as more and more inventory is coming online, which is currently happening right now. As that happens, buyers are going to have more choices and you're going to be up against more competition. There are also going to be more buyers, so there is that. But with that, you're going to want to make sure that your listing really shines when compared to listings that are similar. So, your agent should be showing you comps, showing you, their strengths, weaknesses, how you can put yours ahead, etc. If you need a consultation like that, I would be glad to do that for you free of charge. Let's connect. And if you are thinking about making a move in real estate, or if you're thinking about relocating here, that's something that I help buyers and sellers with all the time. I would love to help you out. You can book a free strategy call with me. There's a link in the show notes to do that. It's no obligation, just a chance to connect, see if we might be a good fit to work together, and at the very least, get your questions answered and help you put a winning strategy in place. All right, that's all I have for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them below. I do my best to respond to all your comments. And if you haven't already, it would mean the world to me if you would smash that like and that subscribe button. I put out new videos every single week about the Reno Sparks lifestyle, the Northern Nevada housing market, and of course, all things to do with buying and selling real estate. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.